So I just finished the Harry and Meghan documentary on Netflix because if it's not on Netflix, then I can't see it. I admit that before watching the documentary, I really didn't know anything about Meghan. I do read celebrity news every day, and I'm not an intellectual snob, so I'm not embarrassed to admit my vice. It helps me unwind, it relaxes me. I like to read about celebrities because I can pull their charts and check their transits, and that's how I teach myself astrology, but I never paid attention to the royals. The first time I heard about Meghan was actually just days before her 2018 wedding, when an astrologer and tarot card reader that I used to subscribe to here on YouTube ran their synastry. That's the astrological compatibility of a couple. Before that, I had never heard of either one of them. When Princess Diana died, I was living abroad and I didn't hear about her death for months. I was that out of the loop. Since the documentary came out, I've been clicking on various articles about Meghan and making the mistake of reading some of the comments. A word of caution: if you're practicing self-care, do not do that. The hatred and vitriol that are lobbed against this woman take my breath away. I have never seen anything like it. I don't think even Angelina got that much hate when she got together with Hollywood's prince. Even though I am an expert on abuse and bullying, even I am at pains to understand or explain it. She got married and had 2 babies. She didn't murder someone. But what struck me most about the documentary was how closely Meghan's experience parallels everything I've been saying about workplace bullying as a form of narcissistic abuse. In the past 7 years or so, since around the time of the candidacy of the Cheeto Jesus, there's been this explosion of information all over the internet about narcissism, but it's almost all focused exclusively on intimate one-on-one personal relationships. Workplace bullying is a narcissistic system. The problem is systemic, but systems are composed entirely of individuals. And all of the individuals within the system are infected with the same disease. Narcissism spreads through the workplace faster than the coronavirus spreads through a nursing home. As a non-UK citizen, it's not really my place to comment on the validity of the monarchy as an institution. The members of the royal family are called working royals, but I think that these people work in about the same capacity as the Kardashians work. If you call wearing designer clothes and showing up for photo ops actual work, they're apparently nothing more than figureheads, which speaks to the characteristic emptiness of narcissistic systems. But if we accept the premise that the monarchy is a sort of family business, then we can see all the dynamics of workplace bullying play out. First, there is this horrid codependent relationship between the royal family and the British tabloid media. There is no doubt in my mind that Meghan was bullied by the royal family, or at the very least the staff, but the real narcissistic bullies in this situation are the tabloids and the public who read them. These days, there's a lot of talk about something called the game and how you're supposed to play it. Codependent enablers who do not know anything about workplace bullying will tell targets of workplace bullying that they simply have to play the game without ever articulating exactly what that game is. Just for the record, what they're talking about is the ego games of narcissistic false selves and false narratives, of mind games, manipulation and lies, of hidden agendas and ulterior motives, of competition, comparisons, and one-upmanship, with absolutely zero direct, honest, sincere, genuine, or authentic communication. In other words, the game is enabling narcissists with their supply. In this situation, the game is very much this grotesque symbiotic relationship between the royal family and the tabloids, based on the false consensus that anyone with fame and fortune is obligated to sacrifice their privacy upon the altar of public consumption. In the documentary, Harry says that members of the royal family were expected to wine and dine these tabloid journalists in exchange for favorable coverage, which is the lifeblood of the royal family, because their entire existence depends very heavily on their likability quotient in the court of public opinion. So here we can clearly see narcissists extracting their supply and threatening abuse in retaliation, and codependent enablers granting supply out of fear. In the workplace, it's exactly the same dynamic. The bullies, flying monkeys, and the bystanders to workplace bullying enable the narcissists out of fear that they will be next. In the minds of some workplace bullies, workplace bullying is a hazing ritual, just like this rite of passage that everybody has to go through to prove yourself and show them what you're made of. In the documentary, Harry details how when he complained about the tabloids' mistreatment of his wife, his family members told him that they would not do anything about it because their wives, Camilla and Kate, had to go through the same thing. There's actually a term in psychology for that. I don't know what it is, but it's like, well, I suffered and I'm fine, so now you have to suffer too, and I'm not going to do anything to help you. Workplace bullies love to accuse the target of workplace bullying of being negative, because we rightfully point out injustice and can creatively envision a world where things can be different. Meanwhile, these people consistently walk around with the attitude that this is just human nature, that's just the way the world is, that's just how people are. That's just how things are, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you just have to take your lumps and suck it up, buttercup, with that English stiff upper lip. Narcissistic bosses have told me that if I'm being bullied, then I have to just deal with it. That sounds pretty negative to me. Among workplace bullying techniques here, certainly we can see the stalking, which in this case included death threats against an infant. All of these people who cannot shut up about how horrible you supposedly are at the same time psychotically obsessed with you and will not leave you alone. In her own words, Meghan says that she was scapegoated by the royal family, just as all targets of workplace bullying are always scapegoated. She speaks about being fed to the wolves, literally used as filler in the tabloids to replace sensational stories about other royals that the family was trying to cover up. And we can certainly see the projecting. Workplace bullies and all narcissists are master projectors. I've said repeatedly on this channel that when these people come at you with their lies and their false accusations, learn to take every word out of their mouths and turn it around as a projection of how they really feel about themselves. They're offloading. Narcissistic bosses have no problem inventing lies and accusing you of their own mistakes in order to get rid of you, and workplace bullies love to paint the target out to be the bully. Raise your hand if the narcissist in your life has turned around and called you a narcissist. They love to do that. When the narcissist accuses you of cheating, he straight up just told you what he's been up to. The royal family created a smear campaign against Meghan, accusing her of bullying when that's exactly what they were doing to her. There was also a rumor that she had made Kate Middleton cry when it was revealed in the Oprah interview that it was the other way around. And the narcissistic public now accuses Meghan of being a narcissist and of having narcissistic ambition, calling her a gold digger when she had a happy, established life long before she met Harry. The royal family is very clearly a narcissistic family system with a favored golden child and a black sheep scapegoat that protects multiple philanderers and a known pedophile. But Meghan was the one who was demonized. Seriously, these people need to write a new script. Every time they point the finger, they only expose themselves. Indeed, Meghan made the perfect scapegoat. She's American, she's an actress, she's divorced, she's older than Harry, and she's mixed race. So she had a lot of strikes against her. She was also the newest addition to the system. And in the minds of workplace bullies, that's the easiest target: last hired, first fired. Obviously, there was a ton of misogyny at play here, but the real issue in this situation was race. Let's be real. The British people just broadcasted to the entire world how racist they really are with their mistreatment of a biracial woman. But ultimately, the perfect scapegoat is the one who is simply different. Workplace bullying is a collective fear-based response. It's fear of the unknown. These people are bigots. They do not tolerate anyone who is not like them. Workplace bullies live in fear of change. They cling to sick, dysfunctional systems like abused children because that's all they know, and because without the game, they have nothing. Workplace bullying entails a colossal amount of time, money, energy, and resources. A lot of trees were killed to trash Meghan in the tabloids. Workplace bullies are more focused on the bullying than they are on the actual work. How many times over the years did I want to scream at my workplace bullies, with all of the time and energy that you people waste on bullying, you could end world poverty. One of my theories about workplace bullying is that it is an actual addiction. And part of the treatment for addiction is to replace unhealthy, addictive behaviors with healthy rituals, like going to the gym instead of drinking, etc. The idea is that if we remove the negativity, it will automatically be replaced with positivity. But think about it and ask yourself, if we take the bullying away from the bullies, do you really think that any of these people would actually be able to do, accomplish, or create anything? If we remove the negativity, it will not be replaced with positivity. It will only expose the void. Narcissism is emptiness. So the next time you want to tell your workplace bullies to stop bullying, remember, they literally have nothing else. Again, workplace bullying is a fear-based response. Narcissists are not psychopaths. They know the difference between right and wrong. They are aware of social mores. They do not experience remorse, but they do experience regret, which is a selfish emotion. They care about their words and their actions, not because they hurt others, but because they know it's a bad look. They just don't want it out there. To a certain extent, it amuses me that such a petite woman could provoke that much fear in that many people. I mean, honestly, what did they think she was going to do to them? All that tells me is there is a whopping load of stuff that these people do not want exposed. Workplace bullying is not illegal, but it certainly is unethical. I always argue that workplace bullying is the marijuana, the gateway drug, the slippery slope to other unethical and even illegal behaviors. If they're not above bullying you, then what else are they up to? More than once I worked in workplaces where the same people who were bullying me were also cooking the books, stealing money from the company. Somebody obviously felt very threatened by Meghan. Their smearing of her only makes me wonder what secrets they were so desperate to hide. I mean, seriously, it's like, what skeletons do you people have in your closet? Literally. Almost always, workplace bullying targets the best and the brightest. It is cutting down tall trees and tall poppy syndrome. The highest achieving, highest performing, and most productive employees are always targeted first. It appears that Harry and Meghan performed the functions of their role very well, so well, in fact, that they initially attracted enormous popularity, and Harry even surpassed the Queen herself as favorite royal. That, in and of itself, is enough to invoke pathological jealousy, which is what workplace bullying is all about. Workplace bullies compete for just about everything, but the number one thing that they compete for is attention. It is their narcissistic supply, and Harry and Meghan were sucking all the oxygen out of the room. Meghan is also smeared as some kind of disruptor who was hell-bent on single-handedly destabilizing the entire monarchy, when she states repeatedly in the documentary that she did absolutely everything these people told her to do. She was a team player. She tried to play the game. She even deliberately muted the colors in her wardrobe so as to not outshine the Queen. She tried her best. She gave it her all, and she says as much in the documentary. She not only worked well, she excelled at her job. She went above and beyond. She tried and tried and tried and tried for years, and nothing was ever good enough. Sound familiar? In this situation also, we can see a bit of do-gooder derogation, which is a component of workplace bullying. Do-gooder derogation is an actual psychological phenomenon that I have described on my channel, and I have a video on it. Do-gooder derogation is when people bully those that they perceive as having some kind of moral authority because they resent the comparison. Targets of workplace bullying are often subjected to do-gooder derogation, and that's where the workplace bullying mantra, who do you think you are? You think you're better, you think you're all that, and a bag of chips, blah, 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 etc. comes from. Both Harry and Meghan had an established history of commitment to charitable and humanitarian endeavors before they met, and they appear to really care about the causes they espouse as opposed to just paying lip service, which is enough to make people accuse them of communal narcissism and virtue signaling. Workplace bullies also appear obsessed with what they perceive to be undeserved blessings. They walk around with a lot of "it's not fair" energy. We all have our blessings in this life because we earned them over the course of multiple past lifetimes, but because workplace bullies are so literal-minded and spiritually stupid, they cannot get their heads around even the first law of spirituality 101, which is karma. If they don't see you literally curled up on the floor crying right in front of them, they think that you never lifted a finger to earn any of your blessings, and they feel entitled to punish you, to make you suffer, to earn the blessings that you already have. Meghan landed her prince, and that clearly did not sit well with a lot of people who felt that she did not deserve her good fortune. But in the minds of these people, no one would ever be good enough for Diana's boy. And I really think that any woman in that position would have been raked over the coals. Part of the function of all abuse is to isolate the victim, because all abusers are weak and lazy cowards who like an easy target. Narcissistic abusers in personal relationships will drive a wedge between you and your family members and friends. Workplace bullies will actively sabotage any potential alliances you might have in the workplace, and when they're really sick, they will go after your personal relationships outside of the workplace. As a result of the bullying Meghan experienced at the hands of the British media, she lost her relationship with her father. Harry's relationships with his family members are reportedly strained, perhaps irreparably, and he states in the documentary that he lost friends as a result of what happened to them. Finally, it's pretty well documented at this point that narcissistic abuse literally affects us physically, up to and including death in the form of suicide, cancer, and other diseases. In Meghan's case, the bullying resulted in the very predictable sleeplessness, as well as, sadly, a miscarriage and even suicidal ideation. But the most striking thing to me about this documentary was the final solution. A lot of people contact me through this channel asking me for solutions. Despite the fact that narcissists have accused me of being dark and negative, I'm actually an optimist. And despite almost 5 decades of narcissistic abuse, I have retained my faith in the innate goodness of humanity. And I wish I had more hope to offer you. I believe Meghan did sue one tabloid, and I think I read that she received £1 in compensation. That's about the best that you can expect if you want to take legal action. I've said repeatedly on this channel that workplace bullying gets to the point that the only people left are the narcissists and their enablers. Everyone else gets edged out. If you want to brush off your acting skills and somehow magically transform yourself into a wooden, emotionless, monosyllabic zombie/automaton for 9 hours a day, you might survive. The system is broken. The people in the system don't change, so the system will never change. Even 2 of the most famous people on the planet with all of their resources couldn't make it work. They had only one option. Someone in the documentary says that when Meghan left the UK, it felt like the death of a dream, and that's exactly how we feel every time we have to leave the workplace. It's like the Taylor Swift song, "It's Time to Go." She sings, "You just go." That is the only solution. And I think that is just sad. Like I said, I don't know these people. I know only what I saw in the documentary. What I saw was 2 educated, intelligent, and well-spoken people who are also thoughtful and reflective. I didn't really pick up on this ick vibe of a false self trying to shove a false narrative down our throats like I do with other celebrities. I believe Meghan is basically a high vibrational, albeit naive spirit who unwittingly walked into the crosshairs of an abusive system for which she was underprepared. She brought a knife to a gunfight. As targets of workplace bullying, that's what we all did. The target of workplace bullying is often a whistleblower, a canary in a coal mine, the little boy who points out that the emperor has no clothes, in this case, literally, hopefully, as a result of Meghan's suffering, the world's eyes have been opened to the truth that the royal family is one narcissistic system that is messed up. I think Harry effectively married his mother, a nice Cancer-rising lady with a big heart and a fiery, passionate spirit who simply did not feel like sacrificing her soul for the purposes of belonging to a sadistic system that was never going to accept her anyway, and who can blame her? It's very clear that the only thing these 2 ever wanted was to create a happy family because they're both children of divorce. By the way, according to astrologers, Harry and Meghan's compatibility is off the charts, no pun intended, and it's very easy to see why these 2 fell in love. He's a triple Earth, which is interesting, and she has a double Yod in her chart. I have one. Never seen that before. That means that Meghan is definitely poised for an exceptional lifetime. It's a great Tristan and Isolde love story for our time, hopefully one that ends happily, and I cannot believe that in this day and age, human beings still have to fight for a common universal good like love. So I wish Meghan and her beautiful family happy holidays and all the best. Take care.